I also think that the old version of myself carelessly took pleasure in destroying the beliefs of other people that went against my desires without understanding what I was trying to destroy. Fundamentally, I was not okay with existing in the world with people who disagreed with me, and I put that anger into my videos.
Hey guys, it's M. Probably with my last Feeble King related video, I can't imagine I have many other reasons to ever talk about him again, but before I get into everything I want to get into, I want you to know I don't hate Feeble King. I wish people don't go and hate Feeble King after seeing this video. Everything that we're going to say could stay right here, and I think that he's a talented content creator. I think putting together the videos the way that he does, it requires effort. I make videos, I'm aware of it. I just think that he has some very interesting takes at times, and I want to talk about some of the statements that were made in his last Night Rain video. Not in the last 30 minutes. I don't even have the energy to talk about that, but mainly the snippet you heard at the end of my reaction and the bit that played at the intro of this video. I think that this old Feeble, which means this applies to every Feeble King related critique of FromSoft games from this Night Rain video before, they were all bad faith. All of them. Literally all of them. And I find it so crazy that he got confused, or he felt a kind of way about the comments that he was getting in his Dark Souls 2 video, when he literally says his past self, which again, this past self seems to be every version of himself before his last Night Rain video. He said he took joy in tearing down what other people like, because they wasn't what he liked. He literally admits to poisoning the foundation of the conversation. And then he was going, well, how did this occur? Maybe he came to this full realization, but I just think that's crazy. As a critiquer, as a reviewer, if you're any person who makes these videos on your thoughts about fucking video games, right, and your entire thing is, I'm just gonna come in here and tear it down because I know you like it, I think that's crazy, right? Now, I want to talk about myself for a second. I don't love Dark Souls 1. If you've heard me play the second half of Dark Souls 1, I would have made it very clear to you, if you were in the room with me, that I do not love Dark Souls 1. When I got to reviewing it, I gave my points on the game. I pointed out a lot of the stuff that I didn't like, but I kept it cordial. You know why? Because my intent was to just review the game and cover all of the stuff I liked and disliked about it. And I didn't go in with the intent of going like, well, if other people like this thing, I don't like them. And honestly, I take joy in tearing down what you love. Because it's like a crazy thing. If you start writing a video with that mindset, I guarantee you the script and the way you're going to write it are going to change. And I find it funny that pretty much every video that I've reacted to that Feeble King has made, I pointed out how he always has these little jab statements to poison the well to the viewer. Like every time. If he doesn't do it in the title. Look at his Dark Souls 2 videos. Look at the Night Rain video. Big red letters. Worst. Awful. This sucks. You already make the viewer want to go in against you off of the title alone. It is a very clickbaity, rage baity thing to do. Like you couldn't get mad at other people for getting annoyed at you when even at the door, you're making fun of them. And then you say that your past self enjoyed shitting on things that people liked just because. It's like, what? It's such a ridiculous statement. Fundamentally, I roll back the clip, bro.
Fundamentally, I was not okay with existing in the world with people who disagreed with me, and I put that anger into my videos.
This is like, come on, bro. We can't make discussion videos on literally anything, critique or not, and then go, I'm just not okay with people disagreeing with me ever. That sounds crazy. That is like a genuine, like, psychopathic way of thinking. It's like, this is my thing. This is my thing. And I said it every time. I was like, Feeble can't get mad at people when he pricks them constantly. The first Dark Souls 2 video that you saw me react to, which I believe was his second Dark Souls 2 video, he constantly pricks and prods at you if you like the thing. FromSoft fans, I want you to answer this.
My question to Scholar fans is this: is there any limit to the amount of enemies in a level where you finally admit that FromSoft had gone too far? Or will you guys always repeat the intelligent arguments that FromSoft fans are known to make, like, mad 'cause bad?
Like, he has multiple quotes in that video where they're not even aimed at the game, they're aimed at the people who like it just because. And if you disagree with me, comment more, I guess.
I just want to take this time to thank the Dark Souls 2 community. If there's one thing I learned making these videos, it's that Dark Souls 2 fans exist, and they are desperate for content. Ever since the Mauler v H-Bomber Guy war ended, the content well has been dry. And even though many of you guys dislike me and have left many mean comments, those mean comments provoked me into making more videos. So I guess insult me more if you want another video.
Like, he relished in it, but constantly. And at the time, I was like, this guy seems like a little bit of an asshole for no reason. And it's because he wanted to be that way. He wanted to get a little group of people that agrees with him and then go, and I'm gonna burn down your beliefs for liking this thing. And I just think that's crazy. I'm sure I've gotten that across. I think that's absurd. I think that's an absurd way of thinking. If I dislike a game, I didn't like Demon Souls very much. Perfect example. I can't think of many people who got super pissed off at me because they thought I was prodding or like basically pissing on them for liking the game. I just explained why I didn't like it. I didn't go, at what point are you Demon Souls fans gonna admit that this is just a bunch of bull? Like, a quick little interjection here, just because I want to make this point known. When I made my Demon Souls video, I expected some people to be mad at me. I knew I came in there hot, a little angry. I didn't prod the player base, but I definitely made a point that I didn't like the game. But you know what I wouldn't have been if people got mad at me for my takes? Surprised. But like his Dark Souls 2 videos, his Shadow of the Erdtree videos, they all had pointing points, like prodding points. And if you write that into a script and then you go into with the thought process, I love destroying what other people like, and then you go, why are they still mad at me? You're silly. You're a silly little guy. Anyway, back to Kirby again. It's crazy. I guess it's a different way of going about things between me and him. I guess more so old him, but it's ridiculous to me. The other ridiculous thing is his groupthink claim. The way that he described groupthink, I don't believe is the definition 99.9% of people would have about the word groupthink.
Clarify, when I say groupthink, I'm not saying that all people who disagree with my opinions engage in groupthink, or that you have to dislike something as much as me because it has flaws. What I am saying is that when fans of a game ignore obvious flaws during the honeymoon phase, I see that as groupthink, especially when the communities tend to wisen up after the honeymoon phase ends.
Hey, cut an M again, just to dig into this groupthink thing a little bit more. I agree with what I obviously just said. However, I'd like to think that groupthink, another big part of it, is that if you're just a group thinker that is just agreeing because everyone else is agreeing, you can't explain why you like the thing. You know, you're just going, well, yeah, and then someone asks you to explain why, and then they go, I don't know, I just think it's cool. I know tons of people who do that. That's what I would say group thinking is. Blindly liking something because everyone else happens to like it. A lot of people who played Shadow of the Erdtree and Dark Souls 2 could explain why they liked those games. For Dark Souls 2, again, like I said, it doesn't even fit into the groupthink thing because it's an older game and his video came out in like 2022 or 2021 or something. But for Shadow of the Erdtree, people were giving points back to why they disagreed with him and still liked the thing. It's obvious they had their own stances on the thing that wasn't just because, well, the group told me to like it. Am I right, sheeple? All of what I'm about to say was initially just going to be added as captions, but it piled into its own three-pronged point. This whole ignore the flaws point that he makes, I think it's just a case of the pros outweigh the cons for most people when it comes to Shadow of the Erdtree. Again, to bring Dark Souls 1 into the convo, most people agree Dark Souls 1's latter half is a good clump weaker, but still like the game. Are they group thinkers? Are they still in the honeymoon phase? We never got a Dark Souls 1 or 3 critique framed in the same way as his Dark Souls 2 or Shadow of the Erdtree videos. Is his past self a group thinker for not acknowledging those games' flaws? How can someone demand the full thoughts of others when if it comes to the same piece of media, you'll cut things out because you mainly want to focus on the negatives of the thing, just because other people like said thing. Focusing on the positives of something you mainly like doesn't mean the negatives don't exist at all. Again, like I said in my reaction, I don't think many people were saying Shadow of the Erdtree was the most perfect thing of all time with no flaws at all. They just pointed out the things that they liked about it. The last point I want to talk about on this edition addition, in both of the video sets I'm talking about here, the Dark Souls 2 and Shadow of the Erdtree vids, he never gave any leeway for the conversation to not have been negative. He says he can take critique in his response to Grid, and even says he agreed with some points, but we don't know what some points are because he didn't elaborate. You can't feel like you can converse with him on these points or these games, because from what I've seen, he doesn't admit when he's wrong or simply when he's changed his thoughts on things, for it to be a full back and forth kind of conversation. Even in the few comments he picked out in something like his Scholar video, they were some softball comments that could easily be picked apart, like the "Scholar is the Cat Mario of Dark Souls 2" comment. As he said, he was toxic, but then he gets annoyed at the FromSoft community for meeting the energy he admits he brought to the table. Anyways, back to past me. And again, even if we want to give him the benefit of the doubt that everyone's a group thinker that just disliked him because they love Shadow of the Erdtree because it just came out, he admitted to the fact that his past self loved pissing people off. It's like, you can't go calling people group thinking, religious group idiots, and then you say you just wanted to make them mad because you took joy in it. That's crazy. Oh, I'm sure you remember the biggest point in his Night Run video that I blew up on was this point, because like I said, it gets worse the more you think about it. It calls literally every other video he did before this one, if you want to give him that. Honestly, I don't, but I'm not a big Feeble King watcher. I'm not going around disliking all of his videos. If I don't want to see something he makes, I'm just not going to watch it. However, I don't believe that this past version of himself is necessarily this past version, right? Even in the Night Rain video. The Night Rain video has something like, "This is the worst roguelike I have ever played." But then you read the first chapter name and it's a lot more neutral. I pointed it out when reacting to the video. He even said, "I might just name it what's in the first chapter or something else." And then he changed it to be more prodding and annoying. He's a rage baiter, bro. It's like, how are we supposed to sit down and have this conversation about this thing when you walked in the door with bad faith, ignoring the title, ignoring some of the prodding statements in the literal videos themselves? He's admitted that in those videos, he took joy in destroying what people like. Oh, it's crazy to me. And the thing is, with this whole religious thing, I hated that point, honestly. It's why you never saw me react to the last 30 minutes. I couldn't. Bro was just talking. But he chose the fan base of a series that is super passionate about it. Dark Souls fans, again, Dark Souls is not exactly a new series, right? The entire trilogy is kind of old now, right? A little bit. It's got some age on it. Dark Souls 1, again, obviously the oldest. But 2 and 3, they're not exactly fresh. But people still love those games. They're still passionate about those games. If you ran into any passionate fandom with the mindset of, well, if you guys like it, I'm gonna love destroying you, it's gonna be a similar reaction. Like, hey, it's Cut in M. I was gonna let this point go. I'm not gonna let it go. Imagine if someone made a video like his with the big bold red letters going, "This sucks, this is awful, this is the worst, it got even worser." Imagine if someone made a video like that about Has Been Hotel, My Hero, since anime's the only art that hasn't fallen into decadence, Fallout New Vegas, any games or, creative works with passionate fan bases behind them. This same kind of thing would have happened. And he admitted he went into some of these critiques, pretty much every critique before this Night Rain video, given how I'm supposed to interpret what he said, with a bad mindset. And then he goes, "Man, these FromSoft fans, they just seem like silly, different school of logic, weird." Like, you set off the bomb and you're like, why'd it blow up? It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I can't imagine creating in that mindset. I can't. I just think it's such a toxic thing to do. And he pointed it out. That's the other thing that pisses me off. Because he points out in his Night Rain video, like towards the end, he goes, "You may have noticed this video wasn't that toxic unless you think about the Punisher meme." And I said the same thing when watching it. I was like, oh, well, he's not prodding and pricking so much. This means he acknowledges that he intentionally wrote the other ones to be toxic. Like, come on, big dog. Honestly, it's like, you You can't say something like that and it doesn't recontextualize pretty much everything else you said. But I don't want to start talking in circles. I don't see any way that I don't end up doing that if I keep going. I probably already kind of have, but I know that a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about this little character. So what do you guys think? As always, as long as you're respectful in the comments, I'm glad to discuss with you. I would love to hear some differing takes on this. I would love to hear some Feeble fans' response to this even. But with that, I've been it, and I am out.